Andrew the Cogna of IronFlame. Welcome to 69 Face of Rock. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Mark. How are you?
I'm good. New album, right? Let's kind of show it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about this and all kinds of things that are happening. This is the new record.
Kingdom Torn Asunder.
That's right. Andrew, how do you mentally prepare before writing a new record?
Oh, boy, that's a tough one. Well, I mean, it's not really tough. Either the mind state is right or it's not. I only strike while that iron is hot, literally and figuratively, no pun intended. If your mind's not in the right space, then you're not going to create what you want. So, and you can't manufacture that inspiration. So, I tend to try just to be aware and conscious when that hits and strike while the iron's hot.
Mm-hmm. Being the sole writer, how do you plan these songs out? Do you keep like mental notes, or do you actually have actual notes?
No, I sit down and it all starts with a riff. It'll normally be one riff, and that one riff normally gives birth to accompanying parts, and I do that until I feel I have enough to arrange a song. And from that point, I gather them all together, put them off to the side, move on, wait till another riff comes out of the cauldron, and repeat the process. And so that's the seeds of all those songs. Always start out with riffs. So, and it happens in stages. Riffs first, then foundational instruments like drums, bass, then vocal, and then solos are always last because they're handled by my very competent guitar players.
Is there a timeline that you put on writing a song? No. I mean, up until recently, the IronFlame writing formula has been pretty rapid fire. That first album fell out of me in a matter of days, and the second album maybe a few weeks, and then I think even Blood Red Victory took only maybe a month to put together, but it's gotten exponentially longer as time passes. This new one, it didn't take too long to arrange, but it's been sitting around for a while before it actually came to life. Well, let's talk about the new album. First of all, one of the first impressions that I got, that it has a very European feel. Would you agree with that?
I would. I absolutely would, and it makes sense because those songs were written directly after returning from our first European tour in 2019. We were all very emotionally high on the experience, and I don't know, I definitely took some of that aura and some of that magic of the European metal spirit back home with me, and I definitely believe that it translated into those songs.
Now also, its dynamic differs from Where Madness Dwells. It feels a lot more positive to me.
It is. It absolutely is, and the reason being is that it was actually written before Where Madness Dwells. It was slated to be in Where Madness Dwells place, chronologically speaking, but at that time, the pandemic happened, and I think you and I talked from that last album, and I told you all that stuff was externally going on emotionally in my life, and I was just not in a positive place whatsoever. And as a result, those songs that make up the album Where Madness Dwells came out of me then, and I felt that it was really important to release them then. So this album kind of just sat on the shelf for a few years to let those emotions in that album grow wings and spread. And now I think the climate has changed. I think we're all kind of slowly returning to normalcy. Attitudes are positive again, spirits are high again. So I felt that it was the right time to release these songs.
The funny thing is, even though the album was written before the previous record, I still sense progress.
Thank you.
But it's a kind of strange progress. It almost feels like you had to take a step back in order to take a step forward.
Maybe. I think now, me being so close to the music and the songs,
the progress that I hear and the main difference between all of our back catalog and this album is this is the first time that I handed my music to someone else to mix and master. I recorded everything myself, but not long after Where Madness Dwells came out, I started a conversation with a German studio, Point Break Recordings, out of Cologne, and we just struck up a conversation. We hit it off, and the conversation led to me sending them my music to mix. So I sent them one song, sort of 1,000 Truths, as a test song, and they sent it back, and I really liked the direction that they were taking it. So we continued to move forward from there and work together on the whole album. So to me, the production value is the real progress that I hear compared to the back catalog.
Tell me about the songs. What are the songs about these days?
Well, I mean, so that much, it is a return to form as far as lyrical content is concerned. It's a bunch of dragons, swords, epic battles, fantasy-based, very anthemic, very triumphant in nature. I stuck with what I knew, and I basically wrote the lyrics that, to me, the music demanded. You know, that all the songs got put together, and I heard the musical backdrop of it. I felt that it needed that swords and sorcery lyrical approach, so that's what I went for again. There's some allegory there. We have a running theme of doing songs about evil women, and Mistress of Desire is the new evil woman song, to where but that one is more of like, if you really read into the lyrics, it's more of an allegory about struggling with addiction. Like the mistress is, the desire is addiction. Yeah.
Despite the fantasy feel and lyrics, your songs tend to deal with real topics. But the beauty of it all is how you kind of dress it into this other...
The allegory.
Yeah, allegory.
Yeah.
Tell me about that skill, and how long did it take you to develop?
I wouldn't call it a skill, because skill would elude that it was intentional. You know, I don't feel that I have a skill for it. I just feel that things kind of just fall out of me, and they're a lot of my musical journey is what I would refer to as a bunch of happy accidents. You know, I don't feel like I'm a great lyricist. I feel like lyrics are a chore. We talked about that before too. I feel like I constantly struggle with lyrics. So I don't know. I just do the best I can, and sometimes it comes out cool. Sometimes it doesn't. I mean, I'm my own worst critic, but yeah. I don't know what else to say there.
You know, funny you should say about series of happy accidents.
Yeah.
The longer I live, the more I realize that nothing in life is really accidental.
Yeah.
In some ways, everything is connected, but sometimes it takes you years to see how.
That I can totally agree with. I can absolutely agree with that. And I feel that some of the best opportunities and situations that I've experienced in my life wouldn't have happened if it weren't for bad experiences in the past. Like, if this one bad thing would have happened, as bad as it was and as out of left field that it came and hit me, and I think, why did this happen? I look back, you know, in hindsight, and think, well, if that bad situation didn't happen, it wouldn't have led to this, to this, to this, to this, which ultimately was a good situation. So
Yeah. You're in the middle of a tour right now, right?
Yes.
How is the new music being received?
Very well. I would say, you know, we've always gotten great reception, but, you know, everyone's a critic and everybody's got their opinions. And it's unexpected, because I expected to hear some people who weren't really feeling it, but I haven't seen that yet. Everyone has just been praising it. Just nothing but positive feedback, and I'm super grateful for that.
Besides this tour, what plans do you have to promote this album in the long run?
Well, this is kind of like the end of the cycle for this year. The year's winding down. You know, it was a quiet year for us, but I think again it was the first year in a long time that we haven't been to Europe. And as sad as that is, because we love going to Europe, I think cosmically it was the universe kind of creating some space for us. My guitar player Jesse, the father for the first time at the very beginning of the year. So I think it's nice that the universe gifted us with this open time to let Jesse be a dad, because that, you're a parent too, those moments, those times, you cannot get that back.
No, you can't.
Yeah. So I'm not mad about the amount of stuff that we've done this year to promote this album. To me, it's just right.
Tell me about the artwork and the title. How does it work together?
Okay.
You want to show it again? I guess that makes sense.
And
right?
I have a tendency to do this as well. Mike Hoffman, the brilliant U.S. artist, did the cover. Once again, he did the album art for Where Madness Dwells. And like that one, like I do with a lot of them, I just tend to name the album around the album art. As you get, if you look at the songs, there's no song titled Kingdom Torn Asunder that's never uttered in any of the lyrics. It's just, when I look at this, I see a forlorn, defeated king, whose world is crumbling around him, and all he has left is his throne and his sword. So that was the title that came to mind.
Recently, your former label Dive Bomb released an album called Compendium. What is that?
So that is a collection of bonus material, unreleased things. So we did a lot of bonus material with European releases on vinyl, little EPs, covers, singles, things like that never made it to full-length albums. And Dive Bomb is a CD-only label, and he is a die-hard CD enthusiast. He's not a vinyl collector whatsoever. And he said, hey, I'm not the only one here. There's a lot of people who only buy CD, and you have a big chunk of a fan base who would appreciate these songs on CD format that they never were able to get before because you had to buy the vinyl. Why don't we make that our last collaboration together? I thought that was a great idea, and of course, like I always do, I wasn't just going to throw those songs on there and call it good. I threw a handful of other unreleased songs on there that you can't get anywhere else. Once again, to give the completists the incentive to buy the CD.
Excellent. In recent years, there are a number of one-man bands.
I knew it was going to go there. I knew
we have Chris from High Spirits. We have yourself.
Yes.
Kind of a new trend for the new age.
I mean,
have you met any of these guys?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What do you guys talk about when you meet each other?
We don't talk about that, but I mean, I feel like that's probably a more prevalent thing than what people know. Every band dynamic is different, and when you think of a band, you think of four guys, sweating it out in a room together, arranging, creating, writing these songs. And it does happen that way sometimes, but not all the time. And I could say, besides this band, there were a handful of other projects that I've been in the 30 plus years that I've been writing music, that was the case. Somebody writes the music, one person writes the music, composes everything, and everyone else in the band just replicates what they compose. The other band that I'm in, Brimstone Coven, is a prime example. My guitar player Corey Roth in Brimstone Coven writes everything, drums, guitars, the whole song. He composes everything, hands it to us, and we just replicate what he plays because what he plays can't be improved upon. So yeah, I think it's a more of a prevalent thing than what you may know. It's just you don't always see what's behind the scenes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Finally, and this question completely inspired by Blitz of Overkill.
Okay.
Whenever a band releases a new album, it's always a new opportunity. What are your hopes for this new record?
Well, it's the same hopes that I have for every other record that we've ever done. to reach a little further into the world and increase the fan base even incrementally or bigger. I just want to spread the word of metal, man. That's what I've wanted to do since day one. And if one person can relate to this music, then I'm fulfilled. I'm grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.